This is the quotient law, the product law, the power of zero law, and the power of powers law, right? So I will have these two questions on the screen here, as you can see. And these two questions, I want to use it to solve or explain more. Questions are actually exam questions, GCSE questions to be precise. And if you want proof, these are the questions. I got the question from T Maths Maths, right? So this question one, I got this from question 1B. I would have solved 1A, but 1A talks about the solution. Part of the solution for 1A is in the three laws that we're yet to see, and those laws will be studied in our second or part 2 video on indices. So we have the first question there is on 1B here, and the second question is on 2B here. So let's quickly look at the solutions to these questions and how they are being solved. Okay, so let's start with solving question 1. 12y raised to power minus 5 divided by 3y raised to power minus 2. Okay, so you already know that 12 can be divided by 3. So 3 cancel itself 1, 3 cancel 12 is 4. So we have 4 here, and we have y, and they are both the same thing. So we pick one. Now minus 5 is the power for the numerator, minus 5. This line here is the line of division. So because this is division, we use negative minus 2. This is the minus 2 here. So the quotient law simply says a raised to power x divided by a raised to power y is equal to a raised to power x minus y, right? So that is the law that I use to explain this. So this is going to give me a final answer of 4y minus 5. Minus times minus is plus. So this becomes plus 2. And this is going to give me 4y minus 5 plus 2 is minus 3. Now this is what we call the sine rule. And I'm going to write the sine rule for you here. So this is the sine rule over here. Let's use another color of pen very quickly. For the sine rule, let's make use of black. Minus times minus is equal to plus. Minus times plus is equal to minus. Plus times plus is equal to plus, and plus times minus is equal to minus. Now these are the sine rule. Okay, let's quickly go back to our solving. Literally, because of this study, this is our final answer over here. But for advanced study's sake, and you're going to understand this when we look at the next part of indices, I can write my final answer to be 4y raised to power minus 3 is going to be equal to 1 all over 4y raised to power 3. So either of these answer, this or this, is correct. Now, why do you need to know this? In case of an objective question, you might solve and you end there, but because this is not in the objective part, you won't know that it's correct, and they'll convert it to this. Until you understand that this can also be written as this, then whenever you see this as an option, that's the only way you can pick it as the correct answer. Are we good? So I'm just going to minimize the screen, make it a little bit lower for those that are writing to write, or you can just do a screen grab to grab the solution. So very quickly, let's go to number 2. Let's solve number 2 question, right? So for me to solve this and for me to make it easy, I'm going to expand all of this. I'll expand all of this. So this is, now I'll erase what I'm about writing on the screen, but I want you to know that. You see this, if we have this, AB squared is different from AB squared. Now the difference is this square outside is for everything inside the bracket. Why this particular one, this square is for just B, right? Good. If you have any question about this, you can still ask and I'll explain further with other examples. But for now, I just have to do this briefly so you understand what I'm about doing. So I'm going to expand this with our mathematical eye. We already know that there is a 1 here, there's a 1 here, while we have a 2 here. Now this is for everything inside the bracket. So 1 times 2, this becomes, remember the product of product law, the power of power law rather. So this becomes 4. Okay, so the power of power law states that a raised to power x, open and close brackets, raised to power y is equal to a raised to power s times y, right? Now, this is the power of power law, and that law is what we will be using right now to solve this. So this becomes, expanding this becomes 4 raised to power 1 times 2 times x raised to power 1 times 2 times y now raised to power 2 times 2, right? So yes, this is y raised to power 2 times 2 divided by, remember what we did earlier, right? So this becomes 2, this one, there's a 1 here, there's a 1 here. This becomes 2 raised to power 1 times 3 times s raised to power 1 times 3. I have to bring this very, very down. So this becomes equal to 4 raised to power 1 times 2 becomes 4 raised to power 2 times s raised to power 2 times y raised to power 4 divided by 2 raised to power 3 times s raised to power 3, right? So this is the first stage of solving this, and I hope you've written this down while I scroll up. Okay, so let's solve this. 4 squared is 8, x squared y power 4 divided by 2 cubed is, so sorry, 4 squared is not 8, 4 squared is 16, right? Y2 cubed is 8s cubed. Are we good? So this is then equal to 8 divided itself is 1, 8 divided 16 is 2. So we have our 2 here. I can't just cancel my s. This is s cubed. So I can't just cancel my s because something binds them together, which is division line, and s is unknown. So I'll just say s raised to power, we'll take the numerator, remember the quotient rule that we did in the previous example. So this becomes s raised to power 2 minus 3. Now there is no bracket because it's a positive sign, and y is still going to be y to the power of 4. Okay, so we've gotten this. Now what do? Our final answer will become 2s to the power of minus 1 y to the power of 4, right? I can give my answer like this. I can also leave my answer to become this. 2 raised to 2y raised to power 4 divided by s self. Now, when we learn about, when we study, when we look at the second part of indices, you know why this is correct and why this other one is also correct. Now, it is important, like I said, to know why this is correct and why this other one is also correct. Now, it is important, like I said, to know all possible answers, all possible conversion because of your objective question. If it's a theory question, you can leave your answer like this and you'll be correct. But if it's an objective question, this can be what they will be what will be given as the option that is correct. And if you stop here in solving, you won't know that you have the correct answer there. And that's why you hear some persons who say, sir, there's no correct answer in the option. Okay, so if you've not subscribed to our YouTube channel where we will be posting full videos on each topic that will be studied, please do so. And if you've not seen the part one of our indices, the link to the channel is in the comment section. Please click on it and do not fail to subscribe to our channel. Thank you very much. This is SmartRoot Educational Hub, and I am Okuje Christian on Media. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.